Once upon a time, there lived 4 friends in a maze: Sniff, Scurry, Haw, and Hem. Sniff and Scurry were mice, while Haw and Hem were little men. Sniff was the one who sniffed out change early. Scurry scurried into action. Hem resisted change and feared that changes lead to worse things. Haw learned to adapt when he saw change can lead to something better. Though different, they shared one thing in common: they just couldn't live without cheese. And so, they went out of the maze every day to find their cheese. Since the maze was full of dark alleys and dead ends, it took time before they could finally find their special cheese. To find cheese, Sniff and Scurry used their simple instincts and quick wits. Hem and Haw used a more complex approach, analyzed the maze, planned their routes, and savored the thought of finding cheese. Until one day at Cheese Station C, they found the biggest collection of cheese they'd ever seen. All 4 were absolutely delighted and ran around excitedly. "We did it!" And now, it became a routine for the 4 to visit Cheese Station C and nibble their cheese, glorifying in comfort. Hem and Haw even decorated the wall with sayings about cheese. Having cheese makes you happy. If only it was as simple as that. Because soon, Sniff and Scurry noticed the cheese supply was running out. After all, they'd been consuming it for days. Hem and Haw did not. They thought they owned the cheese and had every right to eat it. The thought that their cheese could run out was absurd. Hem and Haw had become so comfortable finding their cheese that they arrived late every day because they thought it would never move. But it did happen. One day, Sniff and Scurry arrived at Cheese Station C to find all the cheese was gone. Understanding that change was inevitable, they went around looking for new cheese. Hem and Haw reached Cheese Station C later the same day and were shocked to find it empty. "What? No cheese?" Hem yelled. He kept yelling as though someone would put it back. "Who moved my cheese? It's not fair!" Haw just stood there in disbelief. They'd relied so much on their cheese that they couldn't imagine their life without it. And so they spent a good amount of time in Cheese Station C, hoping it would return. Eventually, they went back home. Haw wrote this on the wall before leaving: "The more important your cheese is to you, the more you want to hold on to it." While Sniff and Scurry ventured into the maze searching for the new cheese, Hem and Haw kept returning to Cheese Station C daily. They reserved time to evaluate the situation and how they got into it instead of taking action until they started suffering from not having cheese. Frustrated, angry, and blaming each other for their situation. On the other hand, Sniff and Scurry finally found a new Cheese Station N with the largest supply of cheese. They'd been paid for their hard work. And yet, Haw and Hem didn't budge, thinking whoever had moved their cheese would put it back. But it didn't happen, and finally, Haw realized it was useless to wait any longer. He'd reached the brink of fear and couldn't feel the emotion any longer. Haw wrote on the wall, "When you stop being afraid, you feel good." He decided it was time to explore the maze for new cheese. "Let's go!" But Hem declined. Haw tried convincing Hem by writing, "If you do not change, you can become extinct." But it didn't help. Why? Because both were wondering different things. Hem was still thinking about, "Who moved my cheese?" While Haw was thinking, "Why didn't I get up and move with the cheese sooner?" Thinking about going out in the maze made Haw anxious. He wondered if he really wanted to go out. So he wrote, "What would you do if you weren't afraid?" Haw knew what he would do and jogged slowly into the unknown. Since he'd waited for so long in Cheese Station C, it made him wait. Haw found it painful to move around the maze, but he continued thinking, "Better late than never." The maze had changed since he'd last been there. Haw also felt he was going nowhere, but it wasn't as bad as he'd thought. While on the way, he also realized that cheese at Cheese Station C hadn't disappeared out of nowhere. There had been signs of cheese supply getting smaller and the leftover becoming older, but Hem and Haw hadn't paid attention. If only Haw had been watching the changes. Maybe that's what Sniff and Scurry had been doing. He stopped and wrote on the wall, "Smell the cheese often, so you know when it's getting old." Haw was rewarded after coming across a huge cheese station. It was empty, but he started imagining himself enjoying all the different types of cheese. He found new energy within him to keep moving and wrote, "Imagining myself enjoying new cheese even before I find it leads me to it." The entrance of the cheese station had little pieces of new cheese, which he pocketed to give to Hem. Haw decided to go back and see if Hem had changed his mind. After all, the quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you find new cheese. But when he returned and offered Hem the new cheese bits, he was turned down. "I want my cheese! This is not what I'm used to!" Sad, Haw went back on his own. He missed being with Hem, but he liked what he was finding along the way. And it wasn't just finding new cheese. He actually liked what he was doing, actively searching for what he wanted instead of lazing around. For the first time, Haw realized change was inevitable. Whether you accept it or not, change would surprise you only if you weren't expecting and looking for it. He kept writing on the wall to serve as a reminder for Hem should he decide to find new cheese. It is safer to search in the maze than remain in a cheeseless situation. Old beliefs do not lead you to new cheese. Noticing small changes early helps you adapt to the bigger changes that are to come. Having completely let go of the past, Haw could adapt to the future and its changes. Before he knew it, he'd reached the end of his journey to Cheese Station N. When he went inside, he was pleasantly surprised to see piles of cheese he'd never seen. Some he knew, and some he'd never seen before. He wondered if he was dreaming until he saw his mice friends, Sniff and Scurry. They both had full, fat bellies, which told Haw they'd been there for a while. And so, Haw dived into the new cheese, finding his fear of the unknown had finally vanished. He reflected on his mistakes and used them to plan for his future. Haw also learned something useful from his mice buddies. They'd led simple lives. They didn't overanalyze or complicate things. And when things changed and the cheese moved away, they moved with the cheese. And that's the key to enjoying life. You must bring the change within yourself because nothing improves until you change. Most importantly, there's always new cheese out there, whether you discover it or not. Only when you let go of your fear and enjoy the adventure can you enjoy it. Haw summed up his adventures in this way. Change happens, anticipate change. Monitor change. Adapt to change quickly. Change. Enjoy change. Be ready to change quickly and enjoy it again. Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson is written simply but conveys a powerful message. To embrace change and adapt to new changes. To live life to the fullest, you must adopt a positive and open mindset and let go of fear. Give this book a try and don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to Video Monks now.